Hey YouTube, Eric here from Team Y 2010. I'm gonna be going on vacation tomorrow, so I decided to put a video out for you guys quickly before I leave. So basically, a 99% confirmed ban list has just been released. I think like yesterday. And this was off of some guy's Facebook page. I forgot the name of the person. But this is a pretty big deal. And this is a 99% confirmed ban list, and I've gone through it and I've checked some forums and stuff, and this is pretty realistic. There's nothing fake about it. If you guys didn't know, there were like three ban lists released before this, like three fake ban lists released before this. Over the past few days. Like one of them had like Stratos listed as banned. One of them, like, it was just three really random lists, and they were all fake. But this one most probably is our ban list. So I'm going to be reviewing it and telling you guys what's on it. As promised in our past videos. So yeah, let's get started. So for band, there are two new band cards this time. First off is Brianak, and the second card is Future Fusion. I'm perfectly sorry guys. I'm perfectly fine with Brio being banned. I don't think it wasn't necessary for them to ban Brio. Just because like they just reprinted Brio. People have been waiting for that reprint for a long time, and they just reprinted it and then they banned it. Sort of doesn't make sense for me. Thank God I didn't actually spend my money on getting a Brio because I was about to, but now it got banned, so that's good. But yeah, Brio's banned. Don't know why. So you're gonna see that gone, but I think it's because of the new water monsters that are coming out. I think that's probably why they banned it. But moving on, Future Fusion. Obviously, there were a lot of broken plays that could be made with Future Fusion. And Future Fusion just really overpowered Chaos Dragons. They were already strong on their own, but then this one card just really gave them the push. Like, if they open Future Fusion, they usually game you. So it's completely sensible. And we are better off with both of these cards out of the game. Because there are some broken plays you can make with Brio as well. So that's it for banned. Then we're gonna move on to limited. So for the Inzectors, they limited Hornet and Dragonfly. I do think that was sort of an overkill on Inzectors, but I guess it is warranted just because Inzectors are such a powerful deck. I know they're not like winning every tournament in this format, but they are like the most powerful deck. They are the most powerful deck of the format right now, in my opinion, and in a lot of other people's opinion as well. They're just really strong, and I guess it makes sense to ban both of these cards, but they could have got off with just banning Dragonfly or Hornet, but by doing this, they have, in essence, really killed the deck. Ultimate Offering, busted card. It should be banned. They limited it, so I guess they're being nice gadget players out there, but this card's busted, and it should be banned. Now that it's at 1, it just means you have to change your playstyle a little bit, but really not that big of a deal anyway, since they weren't doing much in this format. Moving on, Red-Eyed Darkness Metal Drain. This is probably Konami's smartest decision ever, if this actually does go through. I personally think this is the smartest card ever. I did it in my prediction video. A lot of the cards actually in here were in my prediction video as well, but I actually think that this card definitely needs to get limited, just because the card's broken. The card's just so broken. Like, it makes Chaos Dragon like this and Future Fusion just together. You just go so broke, and the fact that they limited it really helps. I don't think Chaos Dragon is going to be this prevalent this upcoming format at all. And this is really good because Gustav Max is coming out, and if this card was still at 3, I think Gustav Max should have been like banned upon release. Because that is just an OTK card. It's like 10 times worse than Dark Strike Fighter. Just because you can get 2 of these guys out so fast and then just overlay and then just hit your opponent for 4,000 damage eventually. That's too strong. So it makes sense they limited this right before Gustav Max release. Moving on, Tsukiyomi. I don't really care that much. This was for like the Thousand Eyes Restrict play. That they limited it. I don't see it being so played, but it is broken, so I guess makes sense. Chaos Sorcerer, definitely a good limit. Just because I know a lot of people go like, oh, but BLS is still here. Well, yeah, but this is still a broken card because it still does do what it does. Like, all you have to do is just take out, especially with Chaos Dragons, all you have to do is just take out 1 Dark and 1 Light. You have so many monsters in your grave anyway that you're not losing out. You're just bringing out a free monster on your field that just removes every turn and then lets you swing in with this guy. So it's just a really cheap card, and I really think that at the end of the day, it's the same thing as BLS, just with a slightly downgraded effect, so you shouldn't look at it like that. Moving on, EV Gishki Gus Kraken. It was on the guy's Facebook page. It says Gishki Kraken, but there's no such thing as that card. I think it's in the OCG, but there's no such thing in the TCG or even the OCG actually. I believe the proper naming of the card is actually EV Gishki Gus Kraken. So you're welcome, I guess. But again, this card, it's a ritual monster, but I see why it's been limited just because this is like a downgraded version of Trap Does Shoot, but it still does what Does Shoot did. So I guess it makes sense that this should be limited. Let's look that up. Spore. This was actually something I anticipated, and I think that it was the right thing to do. They really killed plants, and banning Spore was really unwarranted. Once again, just it wasn't really necessary to ban Spore, and the reason that they brought it back is really helpful. This really does, like, there's some other cards they brought back too, which sort of brings plants up to tier 2. They're not tier 0, but they're tier 2, which means they're playable, which is always great. Next up, Wind-Up Carriers and Matey. I actually thought that they were going to ban Hunter, but it turns out that they just limited Zenmaity, which also prevents the loop the same way. It stops the loop altogether anyways, but they still have some busted combos they can go into with Hunter. But I guess then limiting Zenmaity also solves a problem in some way. And moving on to semi-limited. This is probably the best part of the format. Semi-limit. Tour Guide. This was a very smart move, just because Tour Guide honestly had to go to 2, because along with some other cards in the semi-limit that I'll get to, it does help by semi-limiting Tour Guide does help a lot of the problems we have in the format right now, and it just takes away consistency from some overpowered decks. It's great. Mirror Force at 2, Mirror Force is the worst version of Torrential, so if we have Torrential at 2, there's no point in keeping this card at 1, so I think that was just a giveaway of just like, okay, we need to do this. Reasoning, I don't know why they did this. I guess they did this because Sands aren't that big anymore, so reasoning isn't that big of a problem. But when Sands were at large, this card was huge. But I guess now that they're not that big, it's okay. Giving this card back. Give a little extra plus to Sam's. Hero Lives. Of course, this card had to get 2. This was just too broken. That it had to get semi-limited. It doesn't affect most hero players, but it does affect a small population of them, because this was a cheap card. Moving on, Heretic Seal of Commutation. Heretics weren't really doing much in the TCG, but they were putting their weight in on the OCG, so they had to get rid of their Rhoda, basically. This was a pretty cheap card, so it being semi-limited makes sense. I personally thought it would get limited, just how Smoke Signal did, but they brought Smoke Signal back, so I guess this also makes sense. They're being precautious, I guess. Next up, Pot of Duality at 2. This was a shock, but now that I think about it, it does make a lot of sense. Just because it doesn't really like put you at a disadvantage, just because everybody has duality. Like everybody has a playset of duality. So this isn't really affecting your gameplay. It's just that it just helps. It just helps out. I guess it was too much at 3. It gave like extra consistency to powerful decks. Again, Rabbits and Chaos Dragons. It just added consistency to an already overpowered deck, so they had to hit it, sort of balance everything out, which is, I think, a very smart move. Next up, Emergency Call. I guess Konami was being nice once again, because this was the best thing that could happen to Heroes. Just because I personally thought that Super Volley was going to get banned or limited, or that Stratos was going to get banned. I didn't think they were gonna. I didn't think Stratos should be banned, but just knowing Konami, I thought they might have pulled something stupid and banned Stratos. And when I saw that fake list, I got panicked for a second. But I think this is awesome, just because emergency call doesn't affect heroes at all. Just because most hero decks only run 1 or 2 copies of this at the most, and we have a Rhoda as well, so that takes place as the 3rd one anyways, if you were running 3 in the first place. So this is so good, because now we can run triple Super Poly against any deck and just wreck. I think this is going to be the format of the heroes, just because the Dark Omni Heroes out, and we have Super Poly at 3, so I think heroes are going to wreck the format. This is good news for Brian, that's for sure. Brian's going to be really happy about this. And this is actually very good news. I'm actually happy about this myself, just because Konami's making up for mistakes. Blackwing Collude, I think from the last banlist, Konami really learned they messed up, so I think they're sort of making up for past mistakes by doing this. By a lot of the decisions in this banlist, they're fixing things when they need to be fixed. So Collude is back at 2. I hate the card personally just because I've faced it too many times and I just hate it. I hated it at 3, I hated it at 1, and now I'm going to hate it at 2, so it's not going to make a difference for me. But it's good for Blackwing players, because this sort of puts Blackwing at tier 2, I guess. I would have preferred to see Whirlwind, and I think most players would, but whatever. Rescue Rabbit. Again, lowering consistency of an overpowered deck. Again, this doesn't kill rabbits, it just puts rabbits at a tier 1.5 area. Not just this at 2, but just everything at 2. This prevents the first turn rabbit, which is really great. And with Tour Guide and this at 2, we're going to see rabbits falling off the tier list. But they're still going to see a lot of play, I think. Then next up, Debris Dragon. Again, this in combination with Spore puts plants back at tier 2, because they were dead, but this sort of brings them back. You're gonna have to run Titanium, obviously, but I can see some plays being made with the following sets of cards. And then Agent of Mystery Earth. I think this once again makes agents playable. I think this is really helpful because now agents are a playable deck. And I myself play agents, and I play it to this day. And basically now I can take one Tour Guide out since I ran 3 and put in 1 Earth. I think that's what a lot of people that play agents are going to do. And this also, overall, this is actually an awesome thing that just happened. So I'm actually really happy about that. Then moving on to the unlimited list, Necro Garna, just another push for Lightsworns. I think, like, what are they missing? All they're really missing from being like the same they were is Honest at 3, and I think, yeah, that was it. Just like Honest at 3. Apart from that, Lightsworns should be doing well. This also makes Lightsworns a lot more playable. Then Marshmallow at 3, again, just more stall. E-Telly, they tested out 2. They saw, oh, it's not too bad, let's bring it back to 3. Great move, not going to do anything, but great move. Destiny Draw, again, another big push for heroes, because now Destiny heroes are going to be doing awesome, and then some people are going to be running like Hero Destiny Dark builds with Escurito and everything, so I think this is going to be working out really well. Swords, again, Swords and Level Limit, again, 2 stall cards that are being brought back because they don't really matter anymore. And Magic Cylinder didn't do anything at 2, it's not going to do anything at 3, so again, another, I guess, card for stalls. But overall, I think Konami really, and yeah, that's it. But overall, as I was saying, I think Konami really did the right thing this time. They really fixed the format, and I actually think that this format has the potential to be the best format we've ever had. I think Konami really made up for it since last time, because this past format has been just an absolute nightmare, and I think this format is going to be awesome. So sorry for the long video, but I really felt strongly about this format, and I'll be updating you over the next few days with annotations and whatnot. If this ban list is 100% confirmed. So yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.